welcome to Monday Night Live in Lexington, you guys. My name is Catherine Kaufman, and I'm a psychic medium here in Lexington, Kentucky. Tonight, we've got a special guest, Lyric Sosby. She is here with us to talk about how to open your third eye. So hopefully you guys are getting hopped on here. Shout out to Melissa, John, Steve. Shout out over here to you guys on Instagram. And Sierra and Bob, thanks for joining us this evening. I want to welcome you to the show. This is an every Monday night show at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we explore what and who we are on this journey through life. Okay, so thanks for being here. Hey to Carrie, Jennifer, and Jasmine. So I want to introduce Lyric. She's a local blogger. She has a blog on Tumblr. What's the name of your blog?
Yes, so the name of my Tumblr blog is going to be tumblr.com/Sosby. We're going to send you a link in the comments after the show, so you guys can follow me if you feel so inclined. If you like the information that I present here tonight, you can follow me for more.
Right. So I know you study psychology and you have a real interest in psychology. What are the things that you want to bring to the table with your blog and Tumblr?
Yeah, I definitely think that it's really important to kind of mesh, like, not necessarily what is educational. There's a difference between, like, what is educational and what is informational. What I'm presenting here to you is a lot of information, and psychology is basically just taking, you know, those different aspects and putting it into, like, a science and something that can be measured and understood through different, different testing and that type of thing. So what the third eye and the awakening process has to do, it's been around, for many, many years. And so basically taking those spiritual aspects that have been around since ancient times and putting a new lens onto them and looking at them through a cultural, a new cultural lens, something that we haven't experienced before.
Let me ask you this before we get too deep into our topic, and our topic tonight is how to open your third eye. Thanks for the hearts, you guys, and the likes. What is it about psychology that interests you the most? Like, why do you find psychology interesting or fascinating?
Well, I am someone who's very in touch with their, like, emotional well-being. And, emotions are just going to be a part of everyday life. And what triggers that and how we experience those, third party looking at somebody versus what they are experiencing first person and what is going on in their brain mentally is, just very important to me. And
so kind of like a puzzle, like
right, yeah,
deciphering
definitely.
a puzzle of what the disparagement is between their emotional status in the first person and what you're perceiving as an objective viewer of the situation.
Definitely.
Let's do a shout out over here on Instagram. Hey to Mark, Regina. Hey to Creep Baby Jane. Big kiss to you, sweetie. I love you to death. So thanks for joining us tonight. So let's look over here and do some shout outs on Facebook. I got to go back on the feed because the feed just goes by so fast and then I miss everybody. Hey to Lana, Lorraine, Jill, Tony, Jennifer, Melissa, Christy, Zoe. Shout out to Zoe. Thanks for staying up and watching the show. Hey to Kylie, Paul, Mindy, Pam, Suzanne, Julie Chi, George McKinney. Special shout out to George. Wayne, Michelle, Renee, Ina, Rosemary, Dale, and Stacy. Thanks for joining us. So let's get into our content now. So what we've seen is that like in 2005, there was a huge shift in technology, and suddenly, technology took off. Technology was a boom, and people started having sensory changes from this third eye opening. When was this first noticed by you? Was it in 2005 or was it after that that you noticed this?
It's definitely like a retrospective type of situation. And even, at the time, while people were making these innovative leaps in, like cell phone technology and nanotechnology and, even like the medical field and that type of thing. And as even, throughout the decades, even starting out whenever microwaves became more possible, we are just exposed to all these different energy patterns, these waves, Wi-Fi, radio signals, just, all of these things are coming in contact with our body.
And they've increased.
And they have definitely, increased.
Dramatically.
Yeah.
Do we know how much?
I have no idea. Like, I don't even know how you would
I guess
measure that type of thing.
Yeah.
Even children, little children are having, technological items like close to their bodies, like iPhones, tablets, that type of thing, and their
constantly
toys are,
keeping them with them. Whereas when we were kids, that was like
definitely.
Your mom said go out in the backyard and play.
And so
we didn't have cell phones.
Yeah, definitely. And the aspects that we're talking about are going to be, metaphysical, and these, since it gives off different vibrations, and so you have to think that your natural vibrations are coming into contact with these things that are carrying different frequencies and different charges, whether that be positive or negative. And so that's why really going within yourself and going back to nature and doing all of these things that will help you spiritually will really help you just overall with your health.
Deal with that technology that's, we can't get away from
very impacting.
Technology. It's become,
a
part of everything. So we have to learn how to deal with it because it's not going away, right?
No, it's only going to increase, definitely.
When did you first open your third eye, and what was that process like? Like, what happened to you? What's your personal story?
Okay, so, everybody's experience is going to be different with this, just like everybody's spiritual journey, everybody's religious journey, everybody's, everybody has their own niche, their own theme, their story, basically to tell. So, this, I guess it first starts, it's not necessarily something that you can measure. Whenever it happens for you, like the actual like activation of your pineal gland, which is, what we have come to know scientifically about it. Oh, hello, Melinda McKinney Sosby. Sorry to get distracted in what I was talking about. But yeah, so, just basically acknowledging it and knowing like what, you're actually doing is your first step. But like I said, whenever it actually happens in that
did you know what was going on, or were you like, what the heck is happening here?
With all the information that is out there, there's honestly never enough information. And like I said, everybody's going to have their own experiences, and the people who want to share that are going to have something completely different for every individual. No two people are the same. So no two people's mentality is going to be the same. No two people's psychology is going to be the same. We all have our own, and perspective is very, very important in this, and knowing your own experiences and what, to be true, and what within yourself. This isn't trying to like go against anything that you personally believe, like, whether, whatever kind of religion, because a lot of people try to associate things that aren't within like the box of what they, know as like the other. This is just all encompassing, honestly.
Did you know though what was going on when your third eye was open?
Yes and no. I want to say that just because it's a shock that I did realize like once, like, the process, but it's kind of like, I guess, riding a roller coaster for the first time. Like, you can look at pictures, you can hear experiences of it, but until you're like actually feeling it and going through it and seeing everything, so
where did you reach out for help? Did you just do research on your own, or how did you manage that?
This isn't something that is like hasn't happened before. Like, this has been happening for years and years and years. Just the insight that we have on it is, relatively new, and people in the more modern and developed world are starting to accept it more, versus like I said, the confines of whatever religious or overarching,
So what did you just research on the internet and just kind of say, yeah, that's what's happening to me, or
Well,
I identify
it
with
wasn't
that.
just like on the internet, like, yes, the internet does help, but just like other people's experiences,
Oh, okay.
in real
So you kind
life,
of
and,
network with
yeah,
people.
like, and, even hearing stories, like, whenever I was young, before even the internet, and just kind of like over time, just really all encompassing, that information. And then, but there's a difference between like knowing what it is and then actually working towards it. Like, you can read about like a diet or, how to lose weight all you want, but until you actually like eat the apple and exercise, like, it's not going to
What do you think
work.
was the first thing that actually opened your third eye? What do you think initiated it?
I guess just maybe just being like a sensitive person and just really being thoughtful, honestly. Just like wanting to know more and constantly seeking knowledge about like, non-surface level questions is, honestly, because, until you open up your, mind and start, wondering, you're not going to get out of your box. You're not going to get out of your bubble. You're not going to gain the insight needed to.
So maybe it was your energy wanting to connect with other people and other concepts and other ideas, your energy wanting to go beyond yourself. Maybe that's what opened it up.
Oh, yeah. And I definitely think that there are other, fields at play here, not just like this necessarily three-dimensional, I guess is the best way to describe it, on different levels, because that is very, influential, whether or not, you can see it or not. Like, it's, there theoretically and, scientifically, like, you're being a,
So let's go over the symptoms of when your third eye opens, and we're talking about specifically here the increase in electromagnetic fields, especially with this technological shift. So tell us some of these symptoms and how you dealt with those.
Right. So this process is very, complicated, and, there are a lot of benefits to, activating your pineal gland and opening that chakra and activating your third eye. So basically, with all of those, intuitive and, health benefactors and all that, there are going to be some symptoms of,
so
this, like a hangover.
A lot of people here that don't know what the pineal gland is. So can you tell them what's the relationship of the pineal gland with the third eye?
Right. So basically, for, if you have ever studied any type of philosophy, you know that the great, Enlightenment thinkers, and, even back to Plato and Socrates and Descartes, they were very interested in knowing, like, what is if there is any type of separation between soul and body, and whether or not those are one specific thing, and how we are, and what is consciousness.
Right.
So what we have learned over time is that we can actually pinpoint the spot in which the soul actually is in the brain.
It's concentrated?
Right. Where your consciousness originates, like that connect between soul and body, what we can describe
where
as
the
soul.
Connection is.
Exactly. The physical point in the brain, because, you like, if you study the brain and neurology, that there's
how
different
did they
points for
figure
different
that
things.
out? Like, what made them say, okay, this area is...
It was definitely, like a lot of different testing. I'm, nowhere near like doctoral level as far as my studies. But, just basically, like, it took a lot of time, like, what we, like, even going back, like I said, to the Renaissance with Da Vinci and what we know and like the different regions of the brain. How do we come to know, like, the,
and
it's just...
Lyric has agreed to put some links in the comment section if any of you guys want some of the stuff that she studied and some of the links. Just let us know in the comments, and we will let you guys in on some of the stuff. Hey, to Ashley Hart over here on Instagram, Anna Torn, and NGO818. Thanks for joining us over here on Facebook. Gosh, I gotta go way back here. Hey, too. Let's see. Pamela Lowe, Stacy, Connie, Jennifer, Melinda, Margaret, Melinda. Let's see. There's Tony Lane. Hey, Janice, Carrie, Christopher, Yoli, Missy, Heather. Special shout out to Heather, Kimberly, Danny, Jacqueline, Mike, Paige, Veronica, and Kim. All right, so let's carry on. So some of the symptoms that can occur from the increase in the electromagnetic field and opening your third eye, you can get forehead pressure, the location of the third eye, and of course headaches. Headaches are pretty logical with opening this. There's a lot of sensory input going through that third eye, so you may get a little overloaded and you may have some headaches. Light sensitivity, that can go with the headaches or with this increase in information that's going through to the third eye. Fatigue, insomnia, loss of appetite, and also having increased foresight or premonitions, maybe precognitive thoughts, could be a symptom of opening your third eye. Hey, over here to Ghost Girl on Instagram. So did you have any precognitive events that happened to you when you opened your third eye?
Oh yeah, definitely. There for about like, I don't know, if it was a few months, it just felt like so like not there was some deja vu, but just a lot of like being super sensitive to other people and their like intentions. I don't know if that's a good way to describe it, but just how like, you know, they felt, what they were thinking, and there were so many different synchronicities. I don't know how many people have experienced that, but whenever you're going through this, the synchronicities just like are out the window. It's kind of like you are
right, they are.
It's honestly like watching a movie where everything is like catered to what you're thinking internally and is being projected outside. I know it sounds really cool, and it is really cool, but it is kind of like, you know, very just, and it can happen just any moment, any time of any day, and it will just be like just the very just subtle sometimes, just very, you know, and but it will just catch you off guard, and you know, everybody else, like, it doesn't necessarily mean, you know, anything to them, but to you it will have something that will resonate with you. And just, you know, having those things that just keep popping up. It could be a number, it could be animals. I find numbers a lot, and animals, certain words or names or months, or just any type of like pattern, just constant like patterns.
So with all of these symptoms, we do have like cautions. There's certain cautions
Definitely
to opening your third eye, and so you're going to be visualizing either spiritual beings or spiritual entities that are in and around you. I think it's just like an awareness.
Yeah.
And so this type of visualization or kind of hallucination can be confused with psychosis or other mental illnesses. So is that like a thing that really interests you, being that you have a penchant for psychology?
Right. Yeah. Don't be confused. You know, if you are like hearing voices to tell you to harm people, and these are not like the things that we are necessarily like talking about. That is something, you know, completely different. And, you know, like I said, you know, looking through our cultural lens, you know, over time, you know, some people thought that, you know, that was, you know, a spiritual being that was, you know, but we understand that to, you know, literally be a defect or a disease of the brain, you know, versus actual forces of, you know, energy that are making an impact on people, not necessarily like, you know, talking to them, which, I mean, you know, that could be depending on, you know, your situation.
I know a lot of people see angels.
Oh yeah.
Was that something that happened to you, or did you notice other different things?
I want to say I definitely noticed like similar things but different. I know that's kind of like a vague way to go about it, but
maybe these entities just themselves as your psyche will accept. You know, like if they make a connection with you and your psyche is not connected, let's say your psyche isn't connected to angels, but it is to nature spirits, then that entity may present itself as a nature spirit in order for you to connect with it.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I totally agree. And you know, you might not even physically like see as far as like visually, but like you know, the feeling, the presence, or even like with your third eye seeing, you know, that insight or that
So
intuition that you're talking about.
you are seeing with your third eye, what does the experience feel like to you?
It's very intense is a good way to describe it. It is very like blissful and, you know, I would say somewhat euphoric, but it can be to a point, you know, too intense, you know, and you know, you don't want to tip over that edge of like getting too much, you know, insight, too much information, and like just I don't, it's hard to describe unless you're actually, you know, like going through it, you know, but just there's a difference between, you know, like being enlightened and being at peace with like what you're hearing and what you're seeing and feeling versus, you know, it being too much information. Like, you know, imagine if somebody's never like seen a spirit before or a ghost before and then they see an apparition, like that's going to change everything that they knew about life and, you know, what meaning is and why we're here and what's going on. And so, you know, you got to be prepared for that kind of thing.
Let me check for comments and questions over here on Facebook. If any of you guys are on my professional page, and that's Catherine Kaufman, Psychic Medium TV, if you want to join the live chat, you need to hit the link and come over to the personal page over here on the other Facebook page. We'll try to see if we can answer any questions over here on Instagram. Let me see. Hey to Phil, Angela. I can't read that. Kilaro, I think. Yeah. Hey to Louisville, Kentucky Psychic. Thanks for joining us. So over here on Facebook, we do have a comment. Capri Singh says it increases care in yourself. I'm taking that as you need to increase care in yourself. Absolutely. You need to be aware of your energy, how you're feeling, you know, how your energy exchange is going on, what you're perceiving, your psychic protection. You do need some psychic protection during opening of the third eye as well. So one thing I did want to ask you, when you first open your third eye, how did you psychically protect yourself? Like, how did you know? Did you just innately know how to protect yourself, or did you have to seek out some information to help you with that?
Yeah, so basically, you know, you are in contact with your higher self, and you know, you always have, you know, good energies, good spirits, good guides, you know, some people, you know, angels, you know, depending on, you know, what, you know, you're connected to, you know, are around you and protecting you. And I believe that I am, you know, always in a good place. And, you know, going back to this comment, you know, to increase care for yourself, like, yeah, that's actually one of the ways to actually go about this and to, you know, increase not only, you know, your intuition. You know, you might not immediately, you know, reach enlightenment like immediately, and that's not something that, you know, you can even do. There's a lot of like, I see a lot of things on like YouTube and online, like how to open your third eye quickly, like the quickest way to do that. You don't want to do that. Number one,
because
that's just a really bad idea.
Your psyche, I think.
Yeah, it would just completely.
You have a question over here on Instagram from Creek Baby Jane. What color is my third eye?
So yeah, that basically it's going to be an indigo color. Each of your chakras, it has to do with the centers of chi in your body, and chi is energy. The energy sources in your body, and each one is relative to a different color and holds a different frequency. And so whenever you are around those colors, or, you know, you see those colors, they will immediately, you know, influence that vibration and the energy section within your body.
So indigo could activate your third eye as well.
Yes.
The color.
Yes.
So I would suggest meditating with the color indigo. Okay, so let's go on to the process because we're getting close to time here. So the process of stimulation of the third eye, we're talking about meditation, prayer work, solfeggio frequencies. And if any of you don't know what solfeggio frequencies, guess what? I have a Monday Night Live episode on that, and I will leave that link in the comments section so that you can find out what solfeggio frequencies are. You can definitely make dietary changes, and we're going to talk about all this: yoga, crystal therapy. So let's start with meditation and prayer work.
Yes, and so even after you do this, you will need to make time. This is very, very, very important. You will need to make time to meditate every day while going through this process.
Every day.
Well, it's just, you have to. I mean, you're like, whenever it first happens, your body will literally just shut down, and you will just meditate, because that's, you know, it will physically just, it's
a
hard to explain.
Right,
and it's just so necessary and so important. At least 30 minutes, you know, a day to an hour to 2 hours, just depending on what is going on around you, the energy and the situation that you're in. You know, I totally recommend, you know, being in a stable place in your life. Be sure that all of like your necessities are met before you even, you know, consider this. Don't try to do this if you don't know, you know, like where your next meal is coming from, or if you were, you know, constantly dehydrated.
Yeah, because then you're in self-preservation mode.
Right, yeah, and it's just not.
So solfeggio frequencies, and we're referencing specifically the hertz of 936 as being really beneficial for utilizing this opening of the third eye and protecting that and kind of dealing with it. So do you use the solfeggio frequencies?
Oh yes, all the time. You know, they're really good, you know, not only to have, you know, to listen to while meditating, you know, always while meditating, but also, you know, just playing in the background or while you sleep, or there's just so many different, you know, like uses.
I think they're best played at a low level while you're sleeping. And there's a lot of YouTube channels that specifically will put up like a black screen with just the solfeggio frequencies, so that you can hear them, but you won't be affected by the glare of the screen. So let's see. Creep Baby J says, see, you guys thought I was going to say brown. No, actually, Creep Baby Jane, I was thinking that your third eye would be sexy red. So anyway, let me check for some more questions here. Hey to Susan, Courtney, Kim, Hope, Olivia, Donna. Special shout out to John and Philip Travis, Angie Bishop, and Laura. Okay, so what about yoga and crystal therapy? Now, you know, I'm really big into crystal therapy. So tell us about how do we use that with this process?
Oh yeah, definitely. I have always been like an avid like crystal person, you know, rocks, just in general, different stones, minerals, you know, all of those things are going to carry, you know, different frequencies and vibrations. That is just very important to kind of help, you know, center your energy and your mind and get yourself focused and, you know, really kind of tune into what you are intending on doing.
So do you think that it keeps you grounded?
Oh yeah, definitely. And that is very important also with this, because you kind of, to a point, you know, when you're spending so much time in your mind, you can kind of, you know, kind of lose touch with that base. Yeah, and just really like be in your mind too much, essentially. Like that's just the simplest layman's way to put it.
So what's your favorite crystals to use? Like, let's say you feel disassociated and you feel like you need grounding. What are your favorite crystals that you use to bring you back down?
Well, I just stay, you know, really to my tried and true, my quartz crystal. Definitely. I have a lot of different variations of that. I have like little figurines and bigger pieces and smaller pieces. And then I also love my Shiva stone. That is just really, that one's probably like my, you know, really go-to, and it's really, you know, important to me. Also, I just really just feel a connection to that stone, which is also important as well. Amethyst is also a really good one. I use that one a lot whenever I'm just, I guess, really need like clarity, I guess is the best way to put it. So yeah, those are really my top favorites to work with. I use tiger's eye like during the day. That sort of thing.
That's a really good grounding one as well. But some other ones you may want to consider is fluorite and lapis. And then also remedies for opening the third eye if you've got too much information going through there are grounding techniques with using the crystals as a good grounding technique. What about, what do you suggest if some for the clearing, like smudging, or is there something else that you suggest?
Lighting incense, lighting candles, really clearing your area, making it as high vibrational as possible, clearing out any of that stale or stagnant energies, turning off and unplugging things when they're not in use.
So kind of clearing your auric field of the technology.
Things that are like tainting it. Also, using symbols and sigils is also very, I feel, impactful, because a lot of those symbols, carry the residual archaic memory of like the Eye of Horus, if you want to use that, or the All-Seeing Eye.
So are these just
and sort of
focal points for you to meditate on, or how do you use a sigil?
Oh yeah, I mean, they're just so so many uses, so very versatile and very good to have around you, like in your home, in your room, depending on what you're wanting to do with them, what your intentions are. Sigils, we could do a whole show on sigils.
And I probably
come back and do a show on sigils.
I probably will do.
I actually have an article on my blog about sigils, and then
put the link to it down there.
I will link that. It is very. I have a lot more information there, and how to make your own sigils and the importance of those. But symbols as well, just symbols that are already in use, like just carry so much just residual memory and energy that you can tap into and use. Not only like meditating on it and seeing it like in your mind and in your mind's eye, but seeing it daily and seeing that repetition. It will also, like just the image itself, which, is something that we don't necessarily think a lot of in Western cultures, but in Eastern cultures, images carry a lot of weight, like just the images.
Like the symbology of
it. Right.
It is. It's these are things that are lodged into the subconscious, and even though we may not have been studied in the exact meaning of that symbol, it's in our DNA. Those things that have been passed down, those meanings that have been passed down for generations upon generations. Like the tree of life is not just an image of a tree. It encompasses above, below, the connection, life, family, all kinds of things. So one other thing I did want to touch on the remedies, if you are reducing your technological bombardment, one thing you may want to look into while you're taking a technological break is EMF shielding. You can definitely do this with aluminum foil, but they do make EMF shields that you can buy for a lot of money. I say just put a thing up of aluminum foil.
Hat.
The aluminum foil hat that I had on back in episode 7 of the Plasma Electric Universe. That was a lot of fun. Hey, to Take the Cake products over there on Instagram. We're going to be signing off here in just a few minutes. For synopsis, I want you to tell the people what is the most important thing you want them to know about this episode.
Yeah, I just definitely want everyone to, hopefully take something away. I hope something resonated with you. I hope that, you will be able to make small changes to not only increase, your vibration, but, to put good vibrations out there. It could be just, little things, just keeping a positive attitude, just really not getting down on yourself, just thinking good thoughts, eating less processed foods, drinking more water. And, honestly, it will impact yourself overall. Like, you can't go wrong with just doing these things. There's no harm in it. It can only help. So
that's true. Yeah. I think it can only help. And I think that a lot of those remedies that you were talking about, like the yoga and eating better and drinking more water, is because when you open your third eye, you're basically raising your vibration up a level. You're leveling up, okay, guys? And so when you do that, you've got to become associated with things of that frequency, which is taking care of yourself and, really looking at your energy and where you want to go with that. So I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in. Don't forget, next Monday night is going to be episode 2 of Psychic Vampirism. And how are we going to protect ourselves from these psychic vampires? But before we go, we need to find out, because I'm dying of hunger. What's for dinner, David?
Dumplings. Dumplings. We're going to steam some dumplings.
All right. Well, kisses from Kentucky. We'll see you next Monday night. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.